little one right here. Gerald's Game by Stephen King. I recently listened to the audiobook version of this, and I actually liked it. I definitely liked it. I will say I feel like there's certain parts for me that seem to just drag on for no other reason than to just drag on. I don't know if that's a common thing with Stephen King's novels. I think it might be. Because I know, granted, it's been some time since the last time I read or listened to any kind of Stephen King novel. But, yeah, it's just, for me, it felt like there was too many parts that just seemed to drag on for too long, much, I don't know, I feel like you could have, easily cut out, 10 or maybe even, 15 chapters at the most. And it still would have been a really cool, interesting, intriguing story, so, yeah, but that's just me, I don't know. So, Gerald's Game is about this married couple. Husband is named Gerald, of course. Wife is Jessie. And they go to this cabin one day to spend the weekend, I believe. And they decide to, spice up their love life. And Gerald, he handcuffs Jessie to the bed in the bedroom. And he begins to try to, I don't know, I guess, turn her on and whatnot. And then but inevitably Jessie, she doesn't like it, and she tells Gerald that she wants him to let her go, let her out of the handcuffs. But Gerald doesn't. He doesn't comply at all. And he just takes it as a sign as to him it was like Jessie's way of enjoying the whole thing. So, yeah, there was that. It was never really fully explained as to whether or not both parties were completely participating in this role-playing thing. But either way, it definitely did get to the point where, yeah, Jessie didn't like it anymore. But then actually, as the story unfolded, pretty much turned out to be that I guess Jessie, she never liked it to begin with anyways. And then unfortunately, something happens. Gerald dies. And I don't mean that as a spoiler. I don't think that's not really as a spoiler though, because it happens pretty quickly, I feel. But I won't say how. But I will say, things get out of hand, and yeah, he dies unexpectedly. But I will say, I guess some possible contributing factors could have been the fact that Gerald was a heavy smoker, heavy drinker, so, I'll leave it at that. But, so that happens, so then Jessie, she ends up being handcuffed to the bed for, a period of, 24 or something, 24 to 48 hours, or no, about 2 days, almost 2 days, I want to say, close to 30 hours or something. So during the whole time that she's handcuffed to the bed, she has these flashbacks of when she was a little girl, because for many different reasons, she starts remembering all these different things from her childhood that could have contributed to her being in her current predicament, handcuffed to the bed, having been married to some man who mistreated her. I guess, he didn't abuse her physically, I guess. But I guess you could say he emotionally abused her every now and then. So she starts thinking about her childhood, her relationship with her parents. There's something very interesting that does happen. I mean, I'm not saying that I enjoyed that particular part, because there's a part in which she remembers a time when how close she was with her father, and she remembers this one moment. I want to say sometime when she was like 10 or 11, and her and her father are watching this eclipse, and they're out on the lake, or close to a lake. And it's a lake house that's very similar, I guess, to the lake house that she also happened to have gone up with, gone to with her husband, Gerald. So it's like, I guess, a similar, familiar kind of environment. And so, yeah, when she was looking at this eclipse with her father, things take a weird turn, and just very interesting. I mean, I don't want to give it away, but also, too, because it's definitely very uncomfortable, very cringeworthy moments in her life. I believe it's definitely something that would no doubt be very weird, very traumatic for a lot of people. But then it turns out that at that moment, it turns out to be a very pivotal moment for her, not only in her childhood, but because it ultimately ends up shaping who she becomes as an adult, and pretty much influencing the many decisions and mistakes that she makes as an adult. And so, and at the same time too, Jessie is also has these different voices talking to her in her head. And I don't know, because that's another thing that's not explained, so I don't know if it's supposed to be like some kind of defense mechanism, or if it's just, or if in fact she's also supposed to suffer from some kind of mental illness. But either way, she has these different voices talking to her in her head. Some of them give her ideas as to how she can possibly escape. Others tell her to just give up, and there's no way she's going to escape, and that she should just surrender, accept the fact that she's going to die. And it's very interesting, very intriguing. I mean, I will admit, I haven't read or listened to any other novel quite like this one. But I will say, I believe I mentioned in my May wrap-ups that this novel, Gerald's Game, definitely reminded me of another novel by Stephen King, Misery. Not by much, but it still reminded me of, because I had the same kind of familiar things, there's the bedroom setting, some kind of crazy thing happens, and but except with Gerald's Game, it's different because you have the character of Jessie, who she's handcuffed to the bed with no way out, no way to escape her predicament. And so that's the entirety of this novel, of this audiobook. That's why, like I said in the beginning, I felt like there definitely could have been a lot of chapters that could have been cut out, and it still would have been just as intriguing, just as interesting of a story. So, and Oh yeah, and then there's this other part too where I don't know if I should explain it or not. I mean, I guess, this might be kind of a spoiler thing, so but not really. I mean, I won't go into too many details, but Jessie, she also like encounters this weird being. It's either a person or a being, or possibly even just like an apparition, like something she's conjured up from her own mind. And that appears, and it's like it haunts her. And of course, later on, it is explained, about who this being is, and which is that aspect of the story I also found interesting too. So, because towards the end, then it kind of takes this interesting turn, and to me, it felt like the beginning, or some kind of beginning of another novel. So I don't know if this is supposed to be connected in some way to another Stephen King's novels. So, I mean, if you happen to know that, definitely let me know. Because I would like to. I'd be interested in checking that out too. So yeah, overall, I would give this, as far as the rating goes, I would give it definitely 4 out of 5. Possibly even 4.5 at the most, I guess. Yeah. Like I said, really the only thing that I didn't like again was I felt like it was just some chapters just seemed to drag on for too long. It also too, it felt like it didn't really add. It didn't. Some of the chapters didn't. For me, it didn't really seem to add too much to the story. But that's just me, So hey. But yeah, otherwise, I give it 4 out of 5 stars, and that'll do it for my review of Gerald's Game by Stephen King. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. As always, next time, don't forget to keep it real, keep on rocking, and peace.